Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan and it's time for Rapid Fire Comic Reviews. This is the latest incarnation of new comic reviews here on Geekvolution. Previously, the show was called The Comic Vault New Acquisitions, and it's still The Comic Vault, and it's still new comic reviews, but now it's called Rapid Fire Comic Reviews. And it's essentially the same show, except I'm going to do things quite a bit faster now. The purpose of the show is primarily to give folks a sense of what I think you ought to pick up this week and what you may want to skip, and try to give you a sense of, you know, what I liked and what I didn't, but also what you might enjoy based on the things that I picked up. And more I'm trying all kinds of different things, and I'm picking up and reading books that I might not otherwise read, just to give you folks a sense, a nice, good smattering of what came out this week. Of course, can't read everything, but I can get close. I can do quite a bit. And so, anyway, that's what the show is, and I want to start focusing a little bit more on just giving a kind of broad sense of what each book was and how I felt about it, and not do quite as much analysis, because what I'd like to start doing, especially whenever I'm finally finished with Spawn here, which slowly but surely we're getting done, I want to start doing more vaults on complete story arcs whenever they're finished of new stuff. And that means I don't want to talk quite as much about everything in the show, so that I have plenty of things to talk about once a thing is finished. And also, too much analysis with a single issue can be difficult, can be problematic sometimes, because you don't have the whole thing in front of you. You're just looking at one issue and then whatever you had before. So I think that it's a little bit smarter to do it this way without a co-host. I kind of want to start going more this direction as well. Superhero Enthusiast has bid his farewell on the show. He may periodically come back again, I don't know, but he's got a lot of things he wants to do on his channel, and doing stuff on other folks' channels is kind of eating up too much of his time right now. So I have taken the show back all by my lonesome. I'm going to try to read more stuff that way, and feel free, as always, to leave comments and let me know about things that maybe are coming out in the coming weeks that you'd like to see me review that I might not otherwise consider doing. As always, I want to say thanks to Elite Comics in Overland Park, Kansas for helping us out with the show. If you're ever in the Kansas City area, check out Elite Comics. It's an absolutely fantastic store. And, you know, in the front of the store, whenever the new comics come out on Wednesday, they have the books all lined up across their front counters. They have a lot of front counter space, so that when you walk in on Wednesday, you can see all the new comics that came out. And it was overflowing this week. I have never seen, I don't think I've ever seen this many new comics in a single week. I read 20 books this week, ladies and gentlemen, and it was absolutely nuts. So I'm going to run down them for you as quickly as humanly possible. And I've got some new segments and things that I'll tell you about as we go along through the show. Again, it's basically the same thing. The reviews will be, again, a little bit short, a little more truncated. And also, I'm going to try to incorporate some new sorts of things and organize it a little bit differently. So, where I want to start is... Oh, and by the way, let me also say that I'm sorry this is coming out so late. Having to read so many books this week and juggling Spawn Year and things like that, I wasn't able to get this out earlier in the week. Obviously, this show is going to be a little bit more helpful for people if I can get it out earlier in the week, more around Thursday, maybe Wednesday if I can. That'd be amazing. But more like Thursday, Friday at the latest. So again, I'm sorry this is coming out as late as it is. Maybe you haven't been to the comic store yet, or maybe there's some things that you missed from this last week that will still be at your shop that you might want to go take a look at. And if you happen to be reading digitally, of course, the majority of what I'm reading today, you will be able to read to pick up anytime you want to without any sort of a problem. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and jump straight into it, and I want to start with a brand new underground independent book that is the sequel to a book that I reviewed on a show about underground indie books, an indie spotlight that I did called Punctuation Men. This is by Landon Huber. This is available right now to read online for free in a digital format, and in fact, really the only complaint I have about it right now is that it's not in print. I can't pick it up and look at it, and I can't look at it on a really great digital interface. It's not too difficult to look at, but the text is a little bit small unless you download each of the individual images as PDFs and look at them more, or even you know, images, and look at them closer. But anyway, Punctuation Men is an absolutely hilarious superhero parody that is done in very much a Tick sort of Ben Edlund style, both in the writing and the art is absolutely magnificent. And the second issue is no exception. This book is finally starting up again, and I don't know when they're going to start doing more of these. I really hope more of these come out. The first one came out way back in the early 2000s. This is a decade later, and it's absolutely every bit as good. I think it's funnier, and I love the art in both. Though it's so detailed, it's really, really pretty. And my favorite thing about it is the dramatization of really, really mundane things. The hilarious French villain that we got in the first issue is back, and his name is Runan Sintons, or however it's pronounced in French. But he's run-on sentence. That's absolutely hilarious. He has one of the best henchmen I've ever seen, maybe since Buttery Pat in The Tick, who is throws cards and gives you paper cuts, and he's Paper Cut Man. It's really hysterical. The Punctuation Men have finally hired themselves a butler, and the butler goes into the basement to clean it, and he finds a bunch of leprechauns, and that's hilarious. Anyway, the whole thing is a hilarious farce, and it's really, really well done. And as I said, the art is just spectacular. I gotta say, it's really, really neat that this finally happened and finally came out, and apparently I am slightly to thank for that, which is really, really cool. I'm honored that these guys... so what happened was Landon Huber sent me an email and said that he, by accident, ran into, back earlier in the year, my review of that first issue. And partly because he found that, it reinvigorated him, because I liked it so much, it reinvigorated him to want to finally finish the issue. So I want to say thank you, personally, for finishing the issue, because I absolutely loved it, and I am really impressed with your work, and I'm looking forward to more. I really hope we get more. So check the check the description and click the link and read that issue, even if you didn't read the first one. And I don't know if that's still regularly available. There is some contact information on the page there where you can contact Landon Huber if you want to read the first one. I think it's pretty readable on its own. It's not a super complicated story or anything. Check it out. It's really funny. I want to start now with number ones and good jumping on points, and let's begin with Superman number 32. This was the highly anticipated Geoff Johns and John Romita pairing starting this new story arc, and I was not super enthusiastic about this. I am not the biggest Romita fan. His style doesn't always grab me. It's not really my cup of tea. I especially didn't really care for it much with team books, with Avengers and stuff. It really suits this material, and I thought this was absolutely spectacular. I hope that it continues to be as great as I thought this first issue was. It is action-packed. It is there's a lot in it. There's a lot of bang for your buck. It's got this really great sense of pacing, and I think Geoff Johns just knows Superman, knows how to write Superman. There's a lot of energy to this book, and I feel like there's a lot of character in Superman. I really like Geoff Johns' Superman. I think that he comes alive, and I think that he's got a great voice for all the supporting characters, and I think that he's really kind of taken Superman back to basics here and doing a really good job of like in a sort of organic way getting him somewhat back to a status quo that people really kind of like for Superman. And part of the way that he's doing that is by paralleling Superman's origin with a brand new character's origin. So he's going all the way back to that, sort of, but then also acknowledging all of the things that have changed in Superman's life and all of the back history. Even though, you know, it's 52 and there shouldn't be all that much back history, you know, of course there is, because, you know, the 5 years and all of that. Anyway, what we've got here is this brand new character who thinks that he is the last human, and his parents sent him to another dimension when he was a baby because they were in this laboratory, and it was going to to be destroyed, and they couldn't survive. But they had this little thing that they could put their baby in, and of course, it's exactly the Krypton scenario. And at the end of this, Superman meets that kid, and it's going to be incredibly interesting to see what that relationship is like, and how those parallels end up going together. It is quirky, but it's something that you can certainly take seriously. And like I said, it's just dynamic and action-packed, and a ton of fun to read, and really well, quick-paced. I was in love with this, and I'm looking forward to more. Next up, we've got Original Sin, Hulk vs. Iron Man #1, or, alternatively, Original Sin 3.1. That is officially the name and number of this, and this is how they're doing the tie-ins, or some of the tie-ins and miniseries for Original Sin. This gives us what it is that Hulk is so angry about Iron Man about, that he found out when the I think it was called the Orb, the guy with the big eyeball for a head, again very tickish, when he does like this truth bomb, and all these superheroes learn these major truths. Well, we find out in this what it is that's that major truth, and it might be what you expect, but I really like how it's handled. I love all of the backstory in this about Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, and how they've worked together, but how they kind of butted heads, and the big difference in their personalities. Tony Stark was a weapons manufacturer, and Bruce Banner was trying to create things to help the world, to create rather than destroy, and so they really kind of butt heads. And then at the end, the big bomb, get it? That's dropped, where we find out what it is that Iron Man did to the Hulk, should not have surprised me, but it kind of did. And it's kind of like retroactive origin stuff, which sometimes irritates me. And I thought in this it actually really worked, and I could kind of buy that the big secret was concealed for all these years. I'm actually recommending this one. I don't always go for the tie-ins with these sorts of things. This is a thing that could easily be read all on its own without reading Original Sin. If you really like Hulk, or you really like Iron Man, and especially if you really liked their relationship in the movie, because I feel like this borrows a little bit from that, although it kind of goes its own way with it, this might be for you. I thought this was really quite good, and it's written by Mark Waid, and he's fantastic as always. Next up, it's Super Secret Crisis War #1 from IDW. This is a bunch of characters from Cartoon Network shows all coming together through a really silly and ridiculous plot, where a bunch of supervillains from different worlds, like Aku from Samurai Jack, and Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls, and Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory, etc. These guys all come together in order to force a bunch of superheroes to come to them, and they want to use those superheroes in order to take over all of these various dimensions. And it's a cookie cutter kind of story, and the first issue is all set up, but the novelty is worth it. And I think that Simonson, this is Louise Simonson with art by Derek Charm. I think Simonson has a really good voice for all these characters. I think that it's very funny. There's a whole lot of really fun, witty banter between the supervillains, and it's kind of fun to see what supervillains are kind of dominating the other ones, and all of that. So this pseudo cartoon politics is kind of fun, and getting to see Charm draw all of these different characters in their original cartoon styles. Not going with one style, but keeping all those styles, but then meshing them is a whole lot of fun to see. So there's going to be 5 different one-offs for this book. There's going to be 6 issues of this miniseries, and then I think it's kind of aping a lot of big events where it says, okay, we got to have tie-ins, but they're going to do them all as one-shots. And just real quick, in case you're curious, the one-shots are Johnny Bravo, Bill and Mandy, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Cow and Chicken, and Kids Next Door, codenamed Kids Next Door. I don't know if I'm going to read all of those. I might just read the ones that I'm more familiar with, Johnny Bravo especially. But I'm definitely definitely going to keep reading this because I think it's a whole lot of fun, and also lots of fun stuff with robots because Cartoon Network has this, 90s Cartoon Network had a lot of stuff with robots. The Dynamo from Powerpuff Girls is in this. A whole lot of fun. So great blast from the past. If you are already a big fan of some of that material, I would suggest pick it up if you know at least 2 of them. If you only know 1, I don't know if you'll love it as much. If you know at least 2 of them, or if you're at least a big Powerpuff Girls fan, because there is quite a bit of Powerpuff Girls in it. Next up, I'm going to go to Trees #1 by Warren Ellis. The second issue came out as well, and of course I read both. I missed this because it came out the week that I was on the road trip for the Midwestern panels, and the second issue is out already, and so I went ahead and picked them both up. This is a book from Image with, like I said, Warren Ellis is writing with art by Jayson Howard, and this is about an alien invasion through these huge giant machines that the humans come to call and look at as trees, and it's somewhat of an eco thing, although I don't think it's obnoxiously heavy-handed or anything, where it's kind of this ironic deal of these trees come down and then they pollute the planet, and they're like a big force of nature because these aliens don't see the humans really as an intelligent life form. They don't recognize us as such, and so they go on with their plans, and they never even really deal with the humans at all. They just kind of let the humans be, but of course their machinations, they're taking over, hurts people and messes with people. So some time passes, and we get to see what the society is like of humans attempting to keep some kind of semblance of civilization with these trees here. There's a lot of really cool involved and smart politics and stuff and how all that works, and we learn a lot about the trees and the science behind that, and the humans are trying to figure all of that out. Like I said, it's involved, it's interesting. I think that good science fiction, good smart science fiction is alive and well in comics right now. I think it's the best place where these kinds of stories are being told, and I really, at least old school stuff, of course I'm not reading a lot in the way of novels right now, but just for what I'm consuming versus movies and television, I think I think comics is where it's at right now. I'm definitely highly recommending this. I'm interested to see where it goes. My only complaint right now about it is that both issues end kind of abruptly, and it wouldn't be a problem if it was just a graphic novel that I was reading, where you just turn the page and you're kind of on the next chapter, but it all blends together. But there's not any kind of really like cliffhanger-ish endings or any finality to the endings. It's just, oh, I'm done, really? You turn the page and you're like, oh, it's finished? I feel like this would read better as a straight-up graphic novel, so I'm recommending trying the first issue and seeing if you want to keep going with it, but you may want to wait for trade, because I don't know how great this is going to read month to month. I'm a little bit worried I'm going to lose interest, but I really did enjoy it. I just feel like it might read a little bit better altogether. Okay, now I'm going to jump over to some DC stuff of ongoings. First of all, Red Lanterns number 32. This is by Charles Soule with art by Jay Calafiore, and this is I think some different art than we're used to. I don't, if memory serves, it's not the regular artist on this. It's pretty good. It's a little bit more as I'm looking at it here, the inks are a little bit darker, a little bit rougher, and the color seems to be somewhat of a darker palette, but it makes a lot of sense for the very dark and brutish story that's being told here. So we have, this is called Atrocities, part 1 of 4, appropriate because Atrocitus is back, and we've got the big war now between between our good team of Red Lanterns run by Guy Gardner and Atrocitus and his evil Red Lantern minions. And Atrocitus's big plan is to destroy the other section, or actually take back the old section of the Red Lanterns by forcing them to go back to their old insane kind of mode. And he has taken the Blood the Blood Ocean, and he's made it impossible. He's contaminated and messed it up and made it impossible for the Red Lanterns to use it again. And so this war is brewing, and it's interesting, and I'm enjoying this. What I kind of resisted was the way that Supergirl is kind of shunned out of this. She's sort of written out because Guy Gardner, and I guess the whole story reason is Guy Gardner thinks that she's going to get hurt hurt and that this isn't her fight, and for some reason it's more the other Red Lantern's fight than it is hers, I guess because she never had to deal with Atrocitus before. But he's not trying to get the Judge to leave, and she just now joined them, so I don't really get that. And one of the other Red Lanterns even gives the argument that I would have given, which is, she is the most powerful of us, why are you worried about her over us? But still, he says, no, she shouldn't have to be here, so she leaves, and I don't know, I kind of resisted that. She was the thing that brought me back to Red Lanterns. I was kind of excited to see her face down Atrocitus. It looks like that might not happen, but you never know with Soul. He could bring her right back next issue. So anyway, all in all, I enjoyed this one, but I was a little bit disappointed with the Supergirl thing. Next up, it's Batman Eternal number 12. This one, because they're always written and drawn by different people, is written by James Tynion IV, with art by Michael Janin. And this one finally gets us to the trial of Jim Gordon, although it kind of just gets started and we don't get to see the end of it. Jim Gordon is insisting that Batman not try to break him out or anything, that the system works, and he believes in the system, which is a little bit strange because, yeah, he's been fighting for a better system in Gotham, but he's got to know that Gotham is pretty corrupt and that the system there might not work the way he wants it to, especially with him pulled out. So, I don't know, I feel like he's being a little bit naive in the way that he's playing this, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I do feel like the series is continuing to still kind of drag things out a little bit more. I would have liked to have gotten to this point 4, 5, or 10 issues ago, really. But, well, not 10, you know, 6 or 7. But anyway, a month or two ago over now. I still think that Batgirl is acting a little bit out of character. She's still freaking out, and Red Hood, of all people, is having to calm her down, which is a strange sort of dynamic. We got some more stuff with Harper Row. We got some more stuff with Alfred and his kid, which I'm still not understanding why is in this book, and I'm still not really jazzed about yet. The Gordon stuff I like. There's a cool thing at the end here with Jayson, the new guy who's come in and seems to sort of be taking over Gordon's role a little bit. He's got a lot of initiative. He's got a lot of spunk. I like him a lot, and I think that he and Batman might be developing a Gordon-Batman relationship. I'm really liking that. And then at the end, there's a really exciting reveal, and it's the thing that makes me think that maybe more Snyder Batman fans should be reading this, or alternatively, people who are reading Gail Simone's Batgirl, because they're, and I won't give away what it is, but there is a major thing that comes into play at the end of this that has been a big deal running through Snyder's stuff and, frankly, Batman stuff over the last 2 or 3 years. So take a look at that. This might be the one to read just for that ending if you haven't been reading this at all. And I don't think it's real hard to just pick up and read necessarily. I wouldn't really necessarily recommend that for everybody, but anyway, it might start being more important than I thought it was going to. I don't know. We'll see. But I did really like that revelation. That was kind of exciting. Next up, Batman 66 number 12. We're kind of in Bat territory right now. This is another issue that gives us 2 different stories, and I was a little bummed about that. I enjoyed them, but I really liked last issue's giving us a full-blown 22-page story that was really kind of fleshing out more of the lore for this universe and building on things that we had gotten before. Both of these stories are kind of, oh no, people might be breaking into the Batcave stories. I feel like we've been falling back on that a little bit too much in this series, maybe. It's still kind of fun, though. The first one is with the villain, the Queen of Diamonds, who breaks into the Batcave and tries to steal the diamond that powers the Batcave. There's this hilarious moment when Batman decides, you know, maybe it's not a good idea for us to have a huge nuclear reactor underneath our house. That was pretty funny. There's some very Bruce Wayne some very Adam West stuff in here. I really like Batman's dialogue in this. And then in the second story, there's a villain called the Minstrel who builds this huge musical death machine called the Decomposer. There's not been nearly enough puns in this, and I really love that. That's hilarious. And he steals the statue that opens up the entrance to the Batcave. So again, we were just going to the Batcave constantly in this. Anyway, still really funny, fantastic art all the way through with this one. I really enjoyed it. Hoping we can get back to maybe that format from last issue though, because I'm starting to get excited about the idea of a little bit of long-form storytelling for Batman 66. I think that could be really cool. Next up, Batman number 32. I really don't want to say anything about this except, wow, penultimate issue of 0 Year. I really enjoyed this. We finally get the face-to-face showdown between Batman and Riddler, and that is incredibly exciting. I love the way it gets there. I like where Batman is coming to in how he is starting to realize his persona as Batman, because remember, this is you know, really his debut, and so he's inventing himself, and he decides in this, because Riddler is constantly one step ahead of him, and I love how much of a match Riddler is for him. He's starting to really decide, you know, maybe the point of Batman isn't to save the city and to win every time. Maybe the point is to keep trying no matter how often you fail. Maybe that's the example that I need to set for the rest of the city. That's what Batman's all about. I really love that he gets there, and I enjoyed this thoroughly. I think I'm really going to love 0 Year when it's all finished and I sit down and read it all and at one time, and I'll certainly review it when I get there. Is this a thing that you can really pick up and just read? No, probably not. I would say wait for trade if you haven't been reading this. Certainly read all of it together, because a lot of things, there's a lot of little things you won't appreciate unless you read all of it at the same time. Let's jump to Marvel now. We've got Deadpool vs. Carnage number 4. This is the end of this miniseries, but I'll tell you, the important stuff happens here, and most of the series has really just been Deadpool and Carnage hitting each other, which is a lot of fun, and if you want to see a big slugfest, this is a great series for you, especially if you love Carnage, because he is drawn like old school 90s Carnage in this. No more of this stupid, nothing against Clinton Crane, but no more of this Clinton Crane trying to make him look different, and no, he is Carnage, man, through and through. Maximum Carnage. Anyway, Carnage's whole deal in this has been, I am obsessed with chaos, and that's what I believe in. He has kind of a crisis of faith in this, and he's worried that there are patterns to what he does, and he doesn't like that. He doesn't want that to happen, and Deadpool is trying to prove to him that there are patterns to what he does, and that he is a creature of habit, and that no matter what he does, there will always be a pattern, and he's trying to prove Deadpool wrong. Carnage gets to a really interesting place at the end of this, and I really like how Deadpool proves that the two of them are kind of mirrors for each other, and that they're both crazy, and that there's a hint that maybe both of them might even have that fourth wall breaking ability, sort of. Not that Deadpool does that, but just that he has more of an understanding of how their universe works because of how insane he is. Maybe Carnage sort of has that too. I don't think I'm reading too far into that. There seems to be a little bit of a hint of that, and especially because this is Bunn's Deadpool, and remember, that's what his Deadpool has always been all about, is Deadpool's ability to see beyond the fiction. Anyway, I really liked this, but I think that it's a little bit stretched, the 4 issues together. And like I said, if you haven't read the rest of it, but you're sort of curious, pick this one up. You can read this all by itself. Otherwise, wait for trade and read the thing all together. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man number 3. I don't have a lot to say about this. I still, as always, kind of occasionally go back in and dabble with Spider-Man a little bit, and people hate that I complain about Slott. I haven't liked Slott on Spider-Man, but then I read a little bit more, and then I kind of like it, and then I read more, and then I don't like it, and I don't know, I have this horrible love-hate relationship with this. And anyway, Slott lately has been writing a lot of things I really like. I like his Silver Surfer. I really like his Spider-Man .1 stuff that has been going back in time. That stuff's been really fantastic. So tried this out again this week, especially because nobody on the show has been reviewing this lately. And I gotta tell you, I'm not caring for his Black Cat. First of all, Dan and I had this conversation. We don't really understand why Black Cat doesn't seem to know that he's Peter Parker. In this, I still am not real sure about that, but it doesn't seem that she knows. She has this very, I think, kind of two-dimensional revenge dynamic going on, where she feels like her reputation has been tarnished by what Doc Ock in the Spider-Man suit did to her, and even when she finds out that it was Doc Ock, she doesn't care. She still feels like she has to get revenge on Spider-Man, just so that everybody, just so that she's not seen as kind of a pansy. And I don't know how I feel about that. She is, I don't know, Black Cat as a supervillain is kind of an interesting idea, but she's not nuanced enough, and maybe that's not the right word. I don't know that Black Cat was ever super nuanced, but I don't know, man. There's something about her just seems too simple, and I don't know, I'm not in love with that. Peter Parker having to deal with the fact that he has a company that Doc Ock built for him, and that all of his employees are kind of scared of him is kind of interesting. I like all that. I think the way that he's handling it is maybe not the smartest way, and I think that he's maybe a little bit more intelligent than the way he's handling that, but I don't know. I don't know, I'm sound down on it. I actually really enjoyed this issue. It was fun. Slott Spider-Man moves at a click. It is a quick read. It's a fun read. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but sometimes it doesn't take itself seriously enough, and I think that's often my issue with it. Anyway, that's it for now on this. I don't know. I'm just not really digging this Black Cat. Uncanny Avengers number 21. This I really did enjoy, and we are getting to, it looks like toward the end of this whole time travel thing, finally we get to see our heroes from the future with Kang going back into the past in order to stop the thing that caused all of the mutants to go off on their own planet and caused the death of humanity. I really was worried that this was going to end too easily, and then Kang plays his trump card and all bets are off, man, and I love that. That is really exciting. I really love getting back into the present day, and we do that right at the beginning of this, which is great. I like that we don't linger anymore in the future. The future was an interesting place to live in, but or to visit, but you don't want to live there because you know that ultimately it's going to be wiped out again anyway. And so, yeah, a little bit of a gimmicky time travel story, but I don't care because I learned a lot about some of those people in the future that, you know, is still going to apply in the present day. Again, the Kang stuff kind of was exciting and surprising to me, and I like getting to get back to Thor, and there's also a lot of really fun comedic bits in this, and I was very surprised by how much I appreciated and enjoyed Rogue in this. She's incredibly endearing, and anyway, this is great. Obviously, wait for trade if you've not been reading this, because you will be completely lost and have no idea where you're going, but I do still really recommend this book, and once this stuff comes out in trade, if you haven't been reading it regularly, do yourself a favor and take a look. Guardians of the Galaxy number 16, of course, by Bendis, with art this time by Nick Bradshaw, David Marquez, and Jayson Masters. Once again, we've got all of our heroes having been captured by all of these different villainous races, and the most interesting one, I think, is the Skrulls. They have kidnapped Venom, and one of the Skrulls tries to get the Venom symbiote, which is really interesting. Finally, Captain Marvel is in this. You remember that cover where it was like, and now enters Captain Marvel? That should have been the cover for this, because she enters here. Angela shows up to save Gamora. Hopefully I'm not giving away too much there. Still not getting enough characterization for her. She really seems to just be the superpowered, stop any problem character that just comes in to save the day. We really need to give her a mini-series or something to flesh her out, because I don't know who the heck she is right now. Anyway, so I don't know. There's that, and the Spartax stuff is really interesting. You get Jayson and the Star-Lord really kind of finally going at it, and all of the Spartax people have been sent after him, and King Jayson is like televising his son's demise, and that's absolutely crazy. Their exchange is riveting, and then you get to the end, and we've got a very new status quo with all of that, and I love what Star-Lord does to his dad. Anyway, yeah, this book finally going off on its own, and telling its own stories, and they're quite good. Anyway, once again, wait for trade if you haven't been reading this, because it's right in the middle of kind of an arc, although if you just go back a couple issues, that would be an okay jumping on point, and then you could keep up with this. It's great. It's really quite good. Next up, let's jump over to IDW, look at Ghostbusters number 17. I really thought this would be the end of Mass Hysteria, but it continues. This is a pretty long arc so far. This is part 5, and this is pretty much just a giant sequel to both of the Ghostbusters movies. We're dealing with Gozer, we're dealing with Vigo, and Vigo makes more of an appearance in this. This is mostly Ray's story. It's nice to give Ray so much to do. He's having to stand up a lot to Vigo, or not Vigo, to Gozer, who keeps jumping into his psyche and kind of taking him out of a moment and making him talk to him, and it's really creepy, but Ray's constantly holding his own, and then you get to the end, and it kind of goes where you might expect, but also goes just where I wanted it to. Still funny, still doing a really good job of juggling all these characters, because there's lots of Ghostbusters right now, and I'm keeping them all straight, which is really fantastic. It's still funny. I'm looking forward to getting past the movie stuff. I feel like there was plenty of movie stuff at the beginning of this. Now we've got an entire arc that's a big, giant sequel to the movies. I really want Burnham to start kind of making up more of his own stuff down the road. But regardless, this is all kinds of fun, and at least go back to the beginning of Mass Hysteria, but I don't think you necessarily have to read anything before that if you want to read this current arc. It's quite funny. The last IDW book I have for this week is X-Files Season 10, number 13. This is really gripping me right now. I'm really into this. I love the atmosphere in this. I love the way this is paced, and I love how I'm completely lost, and I should be. And that's what you really want with an X-Files story. We are already 3 issues into this current arc, and it's called Pilgrims. We are still in Saudi Arabia. We're still dealing with that kind of interesting dynamic of the issue over there of female oppression and stuff like that, and how Scully is getting around that in order to even operate. And we've got the return of what's his name? I'm dealing with so many books right now. We've got the return of Krychek, and Krychek has been dead for 10 years, and he comes back, and he doesn't know how he's alive, and didn't even realize he was supposed to be dead in the first place. And there's this great mystery built around how in the world he came back. Now, this is a thing that we do a lot in comics, it's a thing we do a lot in science fiction. Oh man, somebody came back, how is that possible? And we do it just as a gimmick to get to see that character again. So far it doesn't feel too gimmicky. It's giving us, the biggest point of doing this right now, it seems, is to give us a reason to have Skinner in the story and do something with Skinner because of their back history. So I'm interested in all of that. I really like this deal with Scully, who doesn't want to believe but can't help it now because she's seen too much, and that is really played with in this story. And then a lot of really cool mistaken identity with aliens and stuff. This is great. Go back and read the beginning of Pilgrims if you haven't been reading anything else from this year. I think you might be okay there. Maybe it's hard to tell with this series because you're always confused. It's X-Files. But anyway, yeah, really solid. Next up, my one Dark Horse book for this week, Serenity Leaves in the Wind, number 6. This is the end of this miniseries, but it's setting up a lot more to come, and I kind of wish this was just a monthly thing, kind of like Buffy and Angel, but whatever. I really like what we got here. Now, I was somewhat disappointed with the ending of this. I found myself kind of wanting more. There's something left to be desired, and maybe if I read it all together, I wouldn't feel that way about it. But there is this really fantastic... I was confused by things. There is this really fantastic showdown between Zoe and the operative at the end of this. And it starts, and then I turn the page, and then just it never happens. And then she's talking to Mal, and I'm really confused about that. It was almost like I'm missing pages or something. I look back and forth trying to figure it out. I don't understand it. Anyway, we do learn a lot of interesting things about the other people like River who were kidnapped and had their minds experimented on, the other kind of seers, and I liked all of that. So I'm interested in what was added to the lore here. I just feel like as its own story, it kind of just ended. I mean, you know, a lot of things are certainly finished up and paid off, but I don't know. I guess I just wish I was getting to read the next part of this next week, and I didn't have the kind of finality that I did with the movie, where I felt like, okay, if I never get any more of this, I won't mind. This I gotta have more, but it's okay because I know I'm going to get more. So I guess I really have nothing to complain about. Anyway, obviously, not recommending this unless you've been reading the rest of it, but this thing altogether, definitely recommending it if you're a fan of Serenity. And I feel like this, once again, I still kind of wish we got to see this on film. It's really quite good, and Whedon still has a fantastic voice for all those characters. And now, let's go to some new segments I like to do on the show, and the first is Jayson's pick. Jayson is going to pick us a comic book every week to review, and this week he chose Ninja Turtles New Animated Adventures number 12. I have sporadically grabbed this and looked at it. This is, of course, based on the TV show. Two stories in this, and one little, like, 2-page story in the middle. The first story feels a little bit more like a humorous anecdote, a little bit more like a sketch with a punchline than an actual story, which I didn't love, but it was kind of fun to read anyway. Michelangelo has recorded a videotape, apparently, ostensibly about himself, and he, like, training or something, and he wants to send it to a TV station, and Splinter, of course, won't have it, so his brothers and he have to go find the videotape, and they have to fight the Krang, because the Krang think it's got to be important if they're after it, and then you get to the end, and it's kind of a, it's kind of a cute punchline. The second big story in this is Lego Ninja Turtles, which is kind of fun to get to see drawn. It looks great, and it is a little surreal for me because it's just the origin of the Ninja Turtles in Lego form, but it's the 1990 movie origin, and most of the dialogue that Splinter has in his narration describing it all is directly out of his voiceover from that movie. And I started reading it and realized, oh my goodness, I know this, and then I found myself skipping words and entire sentences because I knew it so well already. That was really strange. Anyway, kind of fun. Definitely recommend it for your kids. Definitely recommend it if you collect Lego stuff, and apparently that's not done. They're going to do more Lego stuff in future installments. The next segment I want to do is called the Blind Grab. This is where I grab an issue of a series that has been going on that I've not read either in a while or ever, and maybe will have no idea what I'm looking at because it's right in the middle of something, but just to kind of check in with it and say, okay, what are my impressions of it? What does it look like? And by the way, I know I'm calling it Blind Grab, but if there's ever anything that you'd like me to do for this, that you want to suggest, I'm open to suggestions, and I'm happy to, like, grab anything. I mean, I'll grab Larfleas. I've never read that. I'll grab All New Dupe. I've never read that. Those were a couple things that were out this week that I considered. What I grabbed instead was, so I guess it's not especially blind, but it's, I don't know what this is going to be like. So in that sense, it's a blind grab. Dream Police. Excuse me, Image Comics, Dream Police, Issue 3. This is written by J. Michael Straczynski with art by Sid Kodian. The art is okay. I'm not a huge, you know, I take it or leave it. It's fine. It certainly suits the material just fine. This is a big high concept sci-fi thing that is basically Dragnet in people's dreams. And it reads like Dragnet. It's got that same kind of, like, hard-boiled detective sort of vibe to it. It's got that sort of melodrama. That was the word I was looking for. And in the speech, the story's really good. What I really liked about this is that it was the third issue, and it seems to be maybe pushing some story threads along, or at least building a mythology, but it was really easy to read all by itself, and it is a 22-page contained story that, again, sets up some things maybe for the background of the main thing, but by itself you can just pick it up and read it. So I highly recommend this. It's basically the notion is that there are these dream. By the way, I will never get the song "Dream Police" out of my head after this. Dream Police. So the idea here is that everybody who dreams goes into this thing called the dreamscape, and there are actual living beings that are there, and there is, like, code and protocol for how people are supposed to behave inside of the dreamscape, and we're trying to keep it safe for people to go in and dream naturally, which is getting harder and harder apparently, and so that's these people's jobs. And in this issue, there is a guy who is allegedly framed. He's a police officer. He's allegedly framed for going in and hurting someone in their dream, and our main character, Joe Thursday, yeah, is trying to get him off, and he's worried that they've got the wrong man, and he's trying to prove that they do in fact have the wrong man. I think it's quite good. Some of the terminology was kind of odd. I mean, I liked a lot of it. I really like all the lore stuff, but then it's weird that a single member of the Dream Police is called a Dream Police. I wondered why it wasn't like a Dream Officer or something. But anyway, I really liked that. And now, finally, something I like to do every week, especially because right now I'm not doing regular vaults, but I will probably continue this trend because it's fun. I'm going to do a long box grab. So this is a back issue that I'm going to get at the store each week, and because, you know, I'm always gap filling, and you know, sometimes I just grab random single issues. I'm going to get something new for the collection each week in in the store, and then also review it at the end of the show. Now this time I didn't get this at the store. This was something that I got on the road trip from Midwestern Panels. This was something I picked up in a grab bag, believe it or not, at a store called Mayhem Comics in Ames, Iowa. That's one of the stores that's in the movie. This is Detective Comics number 824. This is one of the Paul Dini issues. This is from 2006 with some really cool art from Don Kramer. This is very much my kind of Batman. This is very straightforward kind of Batman. Now this is an okay story. It's definitely a one and done sort of thing. It's basically the Penguin is trying to go straight, and legitimately is actually trying to go straight. What's kind of fun is that so he opens this casino, and you know, it's the Iceberg, of course, and it's a new casino. But what's kind of fun is the social commentary about how even within legitimate business, you can like have loopholes and not technically break the law, but still play dirty pool and do horrible things to people in order to gain more wealth. But it's legal, but still kind of wrong, and that's what Cobblepot figures out how to do in this. And so he figures out how to be a criminal without being a criminal, which is kind of a fun idea. I think the ending is maybe a little bit lame, but I did enjoy it, and I like his interaction with the Riddler, who is also in this period of time trying to sort of play it straight. He is a private eye during this period. This was a fun read. It's certainly skippable. It's not anything major or important, but it is a standalone 22-page issue, and I really did enjoy it. Well, anyway, that is it this week for Rapid Fire Reviews. Please leave comments. Let me know how you feel about the new format, and I'm going to keep kind of toying around with it a little bit, so if you have suggestions, feel free to leave those in the comments. I'm not necessarily going to have this many books every week, but I am going to keep trying to review as many as I can to give you folks an idea of what came out this week. And like I said, I'm going to start trying to get these going a little bit earlier in the week. I want to say thanks as always once again to Elite Comics in Overland Park, Kansas. Check them out if you're ever in the Kansas City area. Also need to mention, this just occurred to me, and I haven't mentioned this anywhere on the channel yet, that the P.O. Box right now is down, and I haven't yet set up a new one. So if you're trying to send us things, or you're wanting to send us things, please hold off until you see a video update mentioning, and I'll do a video just about this so that everybody knows, mentioning the new P.O. Box. I should be getting a new one here in the next week or two, and I'll make sure and post a video and let you know about that. The movie is coming along nicely. I'll keep giving you updates as that's going along. We've got 65 days left of Spawn Year, and then we will be, I'm going to take a little bit of a break after that, but then afterwards we'll be back to regular daily vaults, hopefully daily vaults, regular vaults if not daily, and we'll also be back to regular rewinds at least by next year. I'm hoping well before that. I want to thank everybody, as always, for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm Captain Logan, and happy reading.